Welcome to our podcast called The 3-Minute Reel, brought to you by AIM Higher in Education Incorporated. This particular series is called Real Talk on Education. I'm your host, Raketa Thomas. Bishop Fulton, it's great to see you. As the Social Justice Chair for the Ministers' Conference in vicinity, what are some of the things that you're seeing out there in the community?
Food banks numbers have doubled. Eviction levels and eviction numbers are up. In particular, here in Forsyth County, there's a big battle going back and forth between the sheriff and the county on evictions. So you're seeing people who don't have anywhere to go. Shelters are full. So it is a cry of help, a plea of help to God, because we can't get help from man.
A little bit more about your involvement when it comes to food insecurity in your community.
Thank you, Raketa. Here at Mount Moriah Outreach Center with our Bread of Life food pantry, we feed 500 people a month on average. Upward 500 people because we do emergency boxes as well.
So what has been some of the challenges that you face with regards to managing a food pantry during a pandemic?
Now, we had been doing a drive-through where folk would just drive through, open their trunks, and we put the food in the trunk of their cars. They give us their name and address through their car window. We document it and they pull off. The challenge has been with the numbers spiking. Most of our volunteers have underlying health issues, a lot of them. With that being said, we've had to cancel our food bank to protect our staff and our volunteers. In some scenarios, when folk are coming out to get food, they may not want to wear a mask or they may not want to comply to the changes. And the changes is stay in your car, don't get out of your car, just open your trunk and we'll put the food in.
Right.
Anything other than that is a indirect form of disobedience to be able to comply to get the food, and it becomes very challenging, Raketa. And we have enough food in our stores right now to feed probably 1,000 people, and this food is just going to sit there for the month because there are no volunteers to give it out to the community. So that is one way that you will see a major backlash. So we're going to try and double up, and where we fed 500 people this month, normally this month, we're going to try and double those numbers or give 500 people double the amount of food that we normally would give, because things are backed up. We're looking at creative ways of trying to do it, wearing face shields, wearing gloves. Of course, not any contact directly with the clients. So kind of like when you go to Chick-fil-A, they put a number on your windshield. This is how we've been doing it. And the number will say how many boxes or how many families is in this car. The challenge is you open some people's trunk. The trunk is full of other stuff. So we will have to open their back seat and put it inside. Then you take the risk of cross-contamination.
Right. And again, as you mentioned, if somebody decides they want to be helpful, right?
Right. So we'll get folk who want to be helpful. We'll get folk who want to recycle Walmart and Food Line bags. And we can't take anything from the clients because, once again, that's cross-contamination.
Right. So there's a lot to navigate, and I can't. My standpoint, I'm on the educational side, and those are absolutely the same things you're navigating through. But I guess slightly different is our environment requires us or necessitates that we come into contact with one another. And in yours, for the food pantry, maybe you can have that separation, but I feel like you have more of a challenge when it comes to trying to get the congregation together.
I hadn't been on Facebook prior to this pandemic. I'm a dinosaur, Raketa. So just me having to preach to an empty church with a camera has been quite challenging for me, but it's also stretched my capabilities. It's also caused us to reach folk who may not, for whatever reason, want to come inside of this building, but they can click on Facebook and they can watch the message and hear it just the same. So it's broadened our audience, and from Hawaii to Maryland. We've had folk tune in and watch our service.
How has this different level of exposure affected the church?
It allows us to reach out to people holistically, one being spiritually. Then it allows the people to reach back out to us. You get very encouraging letters. You also get financial support from the people across the country who see the work that we're doing, and folk who have not lost their jobs, and folk who do have a financial footing are saying, hey, here's where I can contribute to be able to help someone else who may not be as fortunate as I am right now. The beauty of COVID-19 that it's forcing us all to do things that we normally would not do. For example, you're having to deal with your family more now than you've ever had to deal with your family. It's forcing us. Your immediate family.
Close quarters right there.
Close quarters, that's right. Then what do we do for our extended family? We're staying in touch via Zoom, via Facebook, and other ways of communication, telephone. And we're realizing that we're more human than we've ever thought we were before. And we're seeing ourselves now more as a community and not just as individuals. So it's bringing back, Raketa, the culture of community.
You think that's going to last?
I don't know how long it will last, but for the moment, I'm going to say that we'll take it and we will enjoy it.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, The 3-Minute Reel. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll come back and hear the next one. This podcast has been brought to you by AIM Higher and Education Incorporated, where we focus on education for success.